look at estimating inventory value. And one of the topics in this is determining the lower of cost or market valuation. So many retailers or manufacturers would just use cost. And we learned how to calculate out LIFO or FIFO, and there's various other ways of figuring out what our estimated cost of the inventory is. Now, sometimes the inventory might still be sitting on the shelf, but it has become worthless. But it still isn't sold, so it doesn't make it into the income statement. And so let's say you're a grocer and you have milk. Well, if the milk goes beyond the expiration date, it's now still sitting there. No one's going to buy it. But the market value of that milk is now 0. So the grocer will typically use a lower of cost or market valuation to determine what is the cost of ending inventory that they're going to use. Now, the matching principle says that we're going to record or recognize revenues when we earn them, which means we've completed the job, or if it's a product that we've actually shipped the product. And expenses are recognized when incurred and when they match the revenues they help to create. So that's the cornerstone of the accrual basis of accounting, is this matching principle. Now, what about the milk? Okay, the milk is a product, and if it hasn't gone to the customer, it's still sitting there. Technically, according to the matching principle, we should not record a sale of the milk or anything else about it. We also have a constraint that we talk about back in Chapter 2 in Accounting 201 that is called conservatism. And conservatism says that we should not show either income or assets above their value. So if we're going to count that gallon of milk as being part of ending inventory, which is an asset, and it's going to be on the balance sheet that we still own that gallon of milk, but it's worthless, okay, that means that we're showing the assets at above their true value. And so this constraint then, in this case, would kind of override the matching principle. We should never anticipate income or gains or record any journal entries that show that we're making income that it's a little iffy, even if it's only a little iffy, but we can anticipate and account for any losses. So when the milk goes past its expiration date, we know, we can anticipate that we have a loss on that gallon of milk. And so we can go ahead and record it even though we didn't sell it. That allows us to show this loss that happened before we deliver the product or before we junk the product. Okay? So the purpose of these lower of cost or market method is to recognize these inventory losses when they occur before the sale. We recognize these losses in the books and on the income statement. And the lower inventory value that is more correct is also shown on the balance sheet rather than a higher value that isn't correct. Okay, now we have some definitions, cost and market. So cost means the dollar amount that we calculated in the first place using LIFO or FIFO, average cost, whatever cost flow assumption method that we used, we calculated all the milk that was there, including the one that's past the expiration date. That's our cost, okay? Market means how much would it cost us to replace that exact inventory. So how much would it cost us to buy another gallon of milk that was past the expiration date? Well, nothing, right? We can't even buy that. So the market on that gallon would be 0. So the market is the cost we would have to pay to acquire that exact same item, whether it's, destroyed or whether it's past expiration, whatever it is. All right, so here is an example, and here we have 3 products, okay? Now, we calculated out the cost, the LIFO, FIFO, whatever we used for the first category of products, and that's $8,000, $9,000 for the second, and $7,000 for the third. So altogether, sitting in our trial balance under the word inventory, we have $24,000 as being our ending inventory cost. Now we're going to have to take a look and calculate out the market value of all the categories, not just the ones that have a problem, okay, all of them. So the first is $7,000, so the cost of replacing that inventory is actually less or lower than what we're saying it cost. The second category is higher, and this is more typical on most inventory, is that as time goes by, the cost of replacing it goes up. And so typically the market value or replacement amount would be higher than what we calculated that our cost is, which is based on amounts that we paid in the past. And the $6,500 here on the third category is once again lower than our calculated cost. If I total all these market values up, I get $23,500. Now, for the lower of cost or market, I can do this several ways. In this case, we're going to take the lower of cost or market for each category. So for the first category, we take whichever is lower, the cost of $8,000 or the replacement of $7,000. Well, the replacement or market of $7,000 is lower. For the second category, the cost is lower. And for the third category, the replacement or market is lower. So whichever is lower, we're going to put that in this third column, and we're going to total those up, and that's $22,500. So we would want on our trial balance under the inventory account, we would want to show $22,500, and what we're actually showing in our trial balance right now is $24,000. Okay, now we can do this again a couple of different ways. Now, one way is that we can look at the totals. The total of the cost column was $24,000. The total of the market column was $23,500. Okay, so that was a difference of $500. We need to reduce the inventory account. We need to credit the inventory account the $500. And we're going to debit a loss account that's like an expense. Okay, it's going to be shown like an expense. So it's a reduction on our income statement. It's going to lower our net income. So loss on write-down of inventory, and that would be debited for the $500. That $500 loss will show up on the income statement, and the inventory will end up showing up as $23,500 on the balance sheet. If the total market is more than the total cost, then we would just leave the trial balance as it is. We would not make a journal entry, because if the total cost was lower, we're just going to leave it that way. Okay, so again, that was comparing the total market value to the total calculated cost. I can also do it by category. Okay, and here we're comparing the total of the cost column, which again was $24,000, to the total of the lower cost or market column, which was $22,500. So that way we're taking into consideration the lower of cost or market of each category by using that column as opposed to the general overall total. And so here's the difference between the $24,000 total cost and the $22,500 LCM column. That difference is $1,500. So my journal entry will be the same. I'm going to credit or lower the inventory value by $1,500, crediting inventory, and I'm going to debit loss on write-down of inventory for the $1,500. So there are, like I say, different ways that you can do this as long as you stay consistent. So if management uses the LCM column, then they have to use the LCM column to compare to the cost column every time. They can't be switching back and forth. Okay, and our next section is on estimating inventory